I'm not sure how much a round of 223 costs, but Kyle needs to be reimbursed.
I was cornered in front of me with Mr. Zeminski, and there were...
Hold her.
There were 3 people right there.
See, that's real.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
That's what That's what I run.
You'll remember where you were when you saw this.
Time for our break anyway. You can just relax for a minute, sir. We're going to take a break about 10 minutes.
All right.
And please don't talk about the case during the break.
All of you, just right now. First off, that just changed the case.
Yeah.
You will remember where you were when you watched it, and I'm glad that I was there to share that with you. Gage didn't. None of the other witnesses brought forward did. Look, the kid's not a professional actor, and I don't think that's an Academy Award performance if he is. That's a kid who was overcome with emotion. And again, you're talking about a kid who was there to put out fires, to provide medical assistance, who was there because he saw a town on fire.
And genuinely feels bad that he hurt somebody who was trying to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. You know who doesn't feel that way?
The ear gauge guy who didn't care at all, who sat there with dead eyes like it was no problem.
Well, not only that, but you know who doesn't feel that way? The person who runs up and points a gun at somebody who was not violent toward them. The person who puts on a mask and runs out behind a car screaming, "Fuck you and I'll kill you," when they weren't aggressive towards them and corners them.
Or attacks people smaller and weaker that are turned around.
Right. God, my heart breaks for that kid.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's real. Maybe that's why they put him on the stand.
Yeah.
Because they knew, you know what, this trial needs a little bit of authenticity. All of a sudden, when the veil of pomp and circumstance is lifted, and you just see this is a kid who had to make some tough decisions, who ultimately is going to have to live with this for the rest of his life. And that's why when people say, that's why, think of how evil it is for a second. Think of this for a second. That kid is there crying. Right? And all of you right now, we all feel, hopefully, unless you're a sociopath like Rosenbaum or like a Gage, sorry, I get it, hearsay. But unless you're a sociopath, your heart goes out to that kid. Even the media is trying to acknowledge that he's not a stone-cold killer, right? But think about this for a second. The kid was banned from GoFundMe. Posts praising Kyle Rittenhouse were removed from Facebook, from Twitter, under their guidelines of supporting mass shooting. Do you know what? Do we have that clip? We have that clip of Biden. Which clip is it? Biden weighed in on this, clip R. Biden weighed in, and I was going to use this before on the, the secession of states in America. Biden weighed in on this case before the trial even started, to be clear. Here you go. Here's the president of the United States condemning this kid before, no doubt, he had watched any footage.
I'm praying the verdict is the right verdict, which is, I think it's overwhelming in my view.
Just imagine being that kid. It's like, okay, we know now what happens. We know now, and with the benefit of hindsight, with the benefit of all of this footage.
Biden is such an asshole.
I know, he's such a...
I really can't even pretend he's not.
We know what's going to happen.
He doesn't know anything.
Not to mention that they were videotaping the jurors. They were caught videotaping the jurors this week. They're trying to dox the jurors. Here, do we have that clip of them? Here you go. Here's the judge talking about they were caught trying to pressure the jurors, to try and slant the jury. And you wonder why people on the right say that the left hates the United States of America. What? They hate due process. They hate the right to self-defense. They hate the right to free speech. And in this case, with one simple act of trying to videotape the jurors and make it public, they're infringing on all of those. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, not to mention due process and a fair trial. Here is the judge talking about it yesterday.
This morning at the pickup, there was someone there and was video recording the jury, which the officers approached the person and required him, her, I didn't even ask, to delete the video and returned the phone to him. I've instructed that if it happens again, they're to take the phone and bring it here. So
we just saw Kyle Rittenhouse obviously breaking down crying. It would be one thing, there was a time in this country where, let's just say this was a he said versus pedophile said. He said versus wife beater said. He said, she said. Right? But it's not. It's overwhelming amount of video, overwhelming amount of evidence, overwhelming amount of eyewitness testimony, including the witnesses who were brought forward by the prosecution, by the way. Let's be clear about that. Today's the first day the defense has brought forward any of their witnesses. Let's be really clear about that. The overwhelming amount versus people who have active criminal records and were on camera that night trying to cause harm. Here's the thing. What you just saw boil over with Kyle Rittenhouse is, first and foremost, I'm sure, overwhelmed with emotion because he seems to genuinely feel, I hope he doesn't feel guilty. If I could talk to him, I would say, don't feel guilty about what you did. But I know he feels bad. I know that I've never been in a situation where I've had to take a life. And by the way, that's also why I think it's important for people like us to praise him. When people say, well, you just praising him, you don't know how hard it is to take a life. That's absolutely right. That's why I praise the kid who went there to help, to be clear, who went there to serve his community, who went there to provide medical assistance. I think it's important to praise the kid. I think the kid is dealing with being overwhelmed with emotions, obviously, for I really hope not guilt. But think of what this kid had to fight. This kid didn't just have to go down there and fight for his life, which, by the way, would be enough of a story. Think about it. Hit in the head with a skateboard, rocked, someone else running up on him with a gun and managing to clear a malfunction and only shoot him in the bicep. That itself is amazing. So not only did he have to fight people that night, but after that, he had to fight all of the media. Remember the story? White supremacist goes down to join militia. None of it was true. Had to fight the media, had to fight the President of the United States in the court of public opinion, had to fight big tech. GoFundMe, booted. Hope he sues the shit out of them. Facebook, you can't praise Kyle Rittenhouse. Really? Did you remove any articles that said he was a white supremacist? Hey, have all articles about the Steele dossier, about Russia collusion been removed? Has Hunter Biden laptop stories, have they been reapproved? No, but no one could get out, and we had to deal with this, accurate stories regarding Kyle Rittenhouse because they labeled him a mass shooter. So the kid couldn't raise money. The kid couldn't raise money online in the most effective way possible with a legal defense fund at GoFundMe to fight not only the trial, the media, the president, big tech, and, lest we forget, the FBI. The FBI had footage that they were sitting on this entire time. Lost it. Isn't it, by the way, convenient? They found it, I guess, yesterday. They found some new HD footage. Yeah. Don't know if that was the FBI or not. It's pretty tough to keep track. What do you think you would do at 17? I know what I would do at 17 if they said, by the way, you're going to have the president come out and give a statement against you. You're going to be removed from every single major social platform that's available while the media tars and feathers you. And the FBI is going to hold on to footage and not release it that would completely exonerate you and really eliminate the need for any sort of a trial in the first place. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have Black Lives Matter activists and you're going to have Antifa activists videographing the jury so that they make sure that justice is served how they want. And by the way, even if you win all of this, and by the way, that's a big if, the FBI kind of gunning for certain Americans. I don't know how they how they go through their selection process. But even if all of this happens, just so you know, people are probably going to riot in the streets and, people are going to die if you're not guilty. So just so you know, you'll be responsible for more death. That's where that kid broke down. And anyone, and this is where at that point, I don't want to be that I don't want to be that guy who just, oh, this is ridiculous and I hate this and just emote. But you know what? Anyone who, specifically, people who work at Facebook who said we're not going to allow posts praising Kyle Rittenhouse because it's praising of a mass shooter. Fuck you. People at GoFundMe who removed this kid's ability to defend himself legally. Fuck you. People at the FBI who had footage and never made it available when they were going through evidence. Fuck you. And by the way, President Biden, who said that he hopes justice was swift, and in this case it was very clear and severe, and weighed in before the trial even took place, and no doubt, because he cannot be bothered, just like reporters, to simply reference the hours of footage that is out there. Former Vice President Biden, fuck you. This kid is deserved. He is owed an apology from all of you. All of you. And I hope it goes beyond. You're seeing a lot of people right now in the leftist media. I don't even want to name names, but I'm pretty sure you can guess. I talked about this even last week, and now all of a sudden it's making the rounds in the conservative blogosphere. A lot of people on the left trying to distance themselves from this now. Saying, oh, well, you know what? You know what? It seems like there's two sides. And no. If this isn't a we were wrong, not only that, we were wrong and we're sorry. Fuck you. And let's be really clear. He's a proxy for everyone out there right now. You don't think this can happen to you? This is about your right to self-defense. If this kid doesn't have the right to defend himself, if the kid going down to Kenosha, Wisconsin, where he was a lifeguard, we just found out was given a flak jacket by the Great Lakes Police Department, if this kid who's going down, who's on camera, cleaning off graffiti, providing medical assistance, putting out fires, and is chased down by a serial child rapist yelling that he's going to kill him and then saying, fuck you, and then having someone else storm up on him, hit him in the head with a skateboard, and his buddy come up and try and shoot him in the head with a 40 cal Glock 27 that he forgot to mention to the police officer. I guess Stelter didn't do enough digging to find out if that was the case. Couldn't look at photos in front of him. We are at a point here, if they can make it stick and say this kid doesn't have the right to defend himself, none of you. What? You think you have a shot in hell? Being carjacked? Hey, they called him a white supremacist. What if you're in Detroit and you're being carjacked by a black guy and there's no footage and you're a white guy? Think you're going to have the right to self-defense? What if you shoot someone who happens to be the wrong race and you're the wrong race? They tried to build this guy as a white supremacist anyway. He shot a guy practically mid-N-word. If Kyle Rittenhouse doesn't have the right to defend himself, there can be this pile-on, GoFundMe, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the president, the FBI. Of course they can do it to you. And you know what? None of that really... Where's the empathy? When the left talks about empathy, we're the side that cares. Well, let me ask you this. Okay. What would you rather have happened? We'd rather he stayed home. Okay, but he didn't. I would rather the looters and rioters stay home. I'd rather the people who knock over Walgreens and CVS's and 7-Elevens in San Francisco as long as it's under $998. I'd rather they stay home. But here we are. He didn't stay home. Didn't go to steal, didn't go to burn, didn't go to loot, went down to clean shit up. So, okay, I get it. You'd rather he stay home. But he didn't. It's his right. What would you rather have happened? He didn't shoot? The serial child rapist, pedophile, who's mentally unstable, threatening to kill him? You'd rather he didn't shoot? Mr. Gauge Ears, who's within point-blank range and a Glock at his head? Genuine question. Hey, former Vice President Biden, it's pretty clear. If it's clear, you should be able to articulate yourself. I know it's a lot to ask. What would you rather have happened? There really isn't a door number 3, is there? When the kid is running away from a pedophile who's chasing him and only turns around when he hears a gunshot and the guy is screaming, fuck you, to shoot the assailant, who, by the way, burn marks on the pedophile's hand because he was grabbing his gun. There really is no door number 3, is there? He didn't ask for that, did he? He didn't ask for that. What would you rather have happened? What would you rather have happened, Rachel Maddow? What would you rather have happened, Brian Stelter? What would you rather have happened, Young Turks? What would you have rather happened, all of CNN? What would you have rather happened? And let's say you grant that. Okay, you grant it. All right, grabbing for his gun, screaming he was cornered. Okay, shot him. Didn't have to shoot anybody else. After that, running away. All this on, I don't even need to bring up the video right now because everyone has to admit now that it's correct. After that, running away, the guy who pulled the gun on him later, Mr. Gage Ears, saying, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to the police. Didn't run in an alleyway. Didn't run out. Say hello to my little friend. Didn't do any of that. Ran and made it clear. Friendly. I'm going to the police. By the way, if one person says I'm going to the police and the other person says get his ass, sort of could be an indicator as to who wants to actually see justice be served. But, I digress. Going to the police. Tackled on the ground. One guy who has yet to be identified who kicked him in the face. No idea what could happen there. Couldn't possibly be a glowworm, could it? Kicked in the face. Then hit head with a skateboard. It's just a skateboard. Really? Really? Okay, fine. Just a skateboard. Well, let's ignore that. You're happy to be knocked on your back, hit in the head with a skateboard? Noted. But the other guy did have a gun. Even if you grant the Rosenbaum, what would you rather happen? You would rather he be tackled to the ground, drop kicked in the face, hit in the head with a skateboard by someone who reaches for his gun, and the guy comes up with Gage, with the Glock, and... What would you rather happen, President Biden? What would you have rather happen so he wouldn't be considered a mass shooter? Facebook. By the way, 3 companies who decided to coalesce against him, more powerful than the Roman Empire, keep in mind. Google, Alphabet, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. What would be required for him to not be a mass shooter? What would be required for it to be self-defense? Did the pedophile have to be in the process of penetrating him? Sorry to be blunt. This could be anyone. This could be any one of you. And my heart just breaks for the kid when you just think about that. And this is not hyperbole at all. All of big tech, all of the media, the president, and the FBI. No wonder the kid's crying.